Started with the Searcy County Fair, August 19th, 2024 agenda. I'm going to start with the roll call for the members. Allison Williamson. Baker, sorry, I'll fix it. Beth Tyler. Here. Joanne Rhines. Legia Smith. Here. Melinda Ragley. Here. Lita Horton. Here. Robert Cartwright.
Here.
Tiffany Horton is on stream, so she's watching through here. You want to do the treasury report real quick, Allison?
Yeah, I have copies for you all.
Okay.
And I have extra, so if somebody wants one, I probably don't have enough for all of you guys, I'm sorry. But I can get it to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Here's one for July and one for
Right.
Go.
Okay. So, like I said, if you want a copy with all the expenses and deposits broken out, you'll have to go there and get it. But for all the expenses for July, we had $2,113.14 spent. And then for deposits, we had a total of $20,752.57, which is very high for us, but that's because we got a deposit of $14,197.13 from the Department of Agriculture for fair funding. And then we have our full checking account. You're good. The premium account, we ended the month with $723.64. The money market ended with $469.49, and that interest rate hasn't changed, it's still 2.5%. The general has $23,879.21, which again is a huge jump because that we deposit, and then the scholarship account has $7,496.97. So in total, we have $38,569.30.
Any questions for Allison?
Yes, Allison, can you tell me, I know that there is always a credit card charge, credit card bill. Will we be able to see from going forward an itemized,
If you want to, I mean, I can get the whole year, so at the end of the year, I always print it off first day anyway. So
Right.
if that's something you just want to bring every month.
Yes.
It can be printed off and it can be added to this,
That would-
that's not an issue at all. But
It's
yeah,
right here.
we keep a copy of all.
okay, yeah, just transparency. That's what we're
Totally
looking
fine.
for.
Yeah, I don't have a
Yeah.
card, so I
Thank
can
you.
get you a copy of it.
Okay, thank you.
The credit card is used at Marshall Milling, and the credit card is used for Amazon to order supplies, and the credit card is used at Sam's Club in lieu of a debit card. Because when we took over with this, there was 3 different debit cards that were floating around.
Yeah, credit cards are really good to have, and they're good for businesses and nonprofits. But we do want to show what is being purchased and how those funds are being spent.
Did anyone read the minutes from last month?
Yes. Did you read the minutes? Yes.
Let me back up. Did we get an approval on the treasury report?
That was for July. Well, we're gonna just discuss August so far?
Well, August, we'll get August's report at the beginning.
I could do that, but we've never done that prior.
Okay, that'll be fine. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve? Approve. Can I get a second? The minutes from last month, did anyone read it? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
Yes, I have some things that I want to discuss with the old business and updates. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I've got the old business and the updates right here. I'm talking about minutes for July.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve the minutes from last month.
Who's gonna second?
I'll second.
Any opposed? Okay. On the old business, we're gonna open up with the interest for the fair, and this has been an ongoing saga for many, many months. We have coverage with the K&K insurance. It was effective on 8/15/2024. It is a specialized insurance for fairs. There's multiple stipulations in that policy. I sent the policy to the executive board to be approved. Beth approved it orally to me. Lee just said she wanted to be with the majority, and Tiffany said that she was fine with it. We needed a 30% majority, and that was our 30%, and it was passed. And I filled out the policies to be binded, and we were binded on 8/15. That means that we are covered on the fairgrounds. That means that there is no property damage on this policy. Our property damage is through the city of Marshall. The property damage is $291 a month. That's for the Fine Arts Building and the EH Building only. Because the barn is $602, and right now, we can't afford to do that. In time, when we can afford to do that, it'll be brought back on. That decision was made by the executive board, and I can't remember the exact date or the exact month whenever that came through, but it was approved by the executive board. That was not an individual making that determination.
Back up a minute,
Okay.
Pam. Would you please repeat that, about was approved by the executive board, but you can't remember which month that was? So was that early in the year, or?
It was was between April, May, it had to have been March, April, or May.
Okay, so that is different than this liability insurance that we
Yes.
just recently
Yes.
have taken in.
Yes.
So I have a few questions about this liability insurance that we just recently approved. When you were filling out the application for this liability insurance, and thankfully it is a price that we can afford.
Yes.
That we can actually afford, and that's a good thing. There we go. But I do want to ask you, as you were filling out that application, and it was mentioning the parade, at that time, did it, in their rules of insuring, did it talk at that time about
No.
candies?
I did not.
federal
I did not.
candies, or anything like that? Because whenever we got the proposal, there was nothing.
That's right. We did
There
not
was
know
nothing in there
anything
at all
about
about that. So that needs to be clarified.
I did clarify, went through the insurance company, and that was what I sent the email out about. And that's what was
For our
posted.
guests, that
Yes.
needs to be
We
clarified
did
for our
not
guests.
know that, about the
Stipulations,
candy and the
no
horses
stipulations.
and all of this mess. We did not,
Right.
it was not brought up.
Well, in the email chain, there was a response that it was checked that the parade would not be doing anything such as that. So that's why I was inquiring. Was there some type of rules going on at that time?
To my knowledge, no, okay? And that's the reason I wanted to clarify.
We approved it to have a fair. We'll have, insurance for the fair, because if we didn't have the insurance, there wouldn't be a fair this next go around. That's what we approved. It's nothing to do with horses or candy.
The fair was added as an additional coverage, so actually, the fair could be taken off of that additional coverage because it is added there.
One of the options that we had where the parade was concerned was that we could come in and you guys could as the voting member, because I don't have a vote, and you could have excluded the parade from the policy. Okay, that was an option. The other option was that we follow the rules and we do what the rules said in order for us not to be.
But we
so
didn't
there-
see any rules.
When you vote, you didn't see
Whenever I made my vote, there was no rules.
I didn't,
the policy and that policy itself.
No, there's no rules within that policy. I have read it and then reread it and
it was
have
just to
reread it.
cover the fair.
Absolutely. And the additional assured would have been the parade, the egg hunt,
And the pageant.
and then our meetings here every month. So that is something that
The
was,
parade was on there. So they had
yes,
to
it was
specifically-
on there, but that is in addition to the regular liability policy.
So the way that it works is if
It
we
doesn't
decide,
have to be there.
so that if we decided that we were going to, well, that was gonna be the exclusion. You guys could have voted to exclude the parade tonight. I could have made a phone call and then we could have gone back and
We
taken
had
it
no
off.
idea that there was any need to exclude it because we didn't know of the rules.
That's right. Until I
Until
emailed
today.
Friday afternoon, I
Today.
sent the email for clarification. I got it this morning, and as soon as I got it, I sent it to you.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we were voting without as much information as we should have to have made a very conscious decision of right and wrong for us.
I agree.
But we still would retain the liability.
And as far as that is concerned, it can be edited. It hasn't been paid for yet, correct? Check hasn't been written or sent or anything like that.
Well, the
So-
city has decided that they're going to take over the parade for us.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes,
Thank you.
that was. Okay, so the thing with the parade is a mute point at this, because if Evan is gonna do the parade, then we don't, as members of this board, we do not have to worry about the liability issues to the parade.
That is correct, but we do want to make sure that we are transparent with all of our actions. That's what I think. We've got to be transparent.
We have been as transparent as possible.
Maybe not.
Okay, so what are we not being transparent about?
Well, first of all, this is the first financials that we have
Now,
seen in a good
I
spell.
just sent
You sent
all of the financials for 2017.
this last week.
Yes, I did.
But what about for the last months, the last years?
Well, until 2021, 2022, when Andrew Griffin got a hold of our financials for the fair, there were no financial reports.
Our bylaws, say that we are to receive record-keeping financials every month.
Okay,
Bylaws. We want that.
okay,
Our people want that.
not a problem. Never move on. You done?
I think so for the
Okay.
moment.
Grant for the increase in the handicap parking has been on hold. Alice?
I did bring those every time prior to when I came to the meeting, which we're not comfortable with that way. So I email them every single month for them to be able to be presented to be fair. So I did not realize we're not getting them. I would have happily sent them, but also I haven't been coming to meetings because it was voted on board the children to talk about. And I, at the time that was voted, was a single mom, and they're volunteering for free. You can't ask people that are on the board not to bring their children to the meeting, where I would have brought the financials every single time. But the only time I've been asked for them by anyone besides families, they were sent to the fair email every single month, and I'm gonna attest, I have a copy of every single spreadsheet getting sent every single month. So I'm sorry, I did not realize I was not getting those, or I would have absolutely sent it to every board member. And
We
you can say-
thank you.
I did this one, because I did not know that. So
Thank
I do apologize, because I have no idea if I was not.
There were some-
Yeah.
There were some members that didn't want to know about anything about the financials. They didn't want to vote for the treasury report, they didn't want to know anything about the financial report, and that's the reason the executive board was created. The grant for the handicap parking is on hold, we'll find to get around to that maybe in the spring. The bathrooms in the Fine Arts Building are plumbed, the showers are operational now, and that, hot water heater luckily continues to work. So if anybody got messy, needed a shower, if somebody got chemicals on them, those showers are ready to go. I haven't had any news from Cassidy Clark about the painting. The fan in the poultry barn has been donated by the city, by the Searcy County Chamber, and Randy Hubbard was kind enough to price match. Do you guys want to go over the budget?
Sure.
Our electric, water, and insurance is running about $16,800 per year. I've estimated the mowing to be about $2,100, and that's seasonal, and it can change depending upon the way the grass grows. Propane plus the tank is running about $400 to $500. I believe the propane was $145 when we filled it up at $1.89 a gallon, and then the rent on the propane tank is $385, I think. Ribbon money, and that's our fair checks. Fair managers is mandatory in order for us to get state money. It's $1,700. The ribbon money, which is our fair checks, is going to be $3,500. That was voted on by the executive board. We will probably need to order ribbons for 2025, and that's hopefully that'll only be a couple of thousand. Our total expenditures is $26,000. The state at that point when I did this was only $14,000, but now that's come up a little bit. To $14,100, almost $14,200. So that gives us a deficit of every year of about $12,000 if we have to bank up in fundraisers and donations, or about $1,000 a month. Now that's providing that nothing else comes up. And there's things here that I've probably left out. Because it doesn't cover the food, the paper products, food service, offices, the fair book expenses, which can run anywhere between $500 and $700, just depending on how much paper and how much toner that has to be used. Any questions?
Our electric, water, and insurance, we are running over $1,000 a month for those.
So with the electric is running between 3 and 4, and then the insurance is $290 plus the $2,500. So if you add all that up together, that's about what it. And it may be a little less than that.
I would think that during the off months, that we wouldn't be having those high of electric bills.
Well, we still, during the fair, the electric bill will, that's an average, the electric bill will run up to about $800, $800,000.
That, is there some way that we can lower these costs and lower these expenses? How can we get ourselves into a better budget?
Making sure those thermostats are turned off. That's the reason after every event, I come up here and make sure the thermostats are turned off. Because a lot of times they get left on when somebody, or they'll leave the fan on running. A lot of times if somebody's in the kitchen, they'll leave that big exhaust fan running.
Okay, and then the fair managers, this is something that we have to pay yearly to get state money.
Yes.
And who do we pay this to?
Arkansas Fair Managers, we have to pay them $500 a year to be a member. Then we have to pay $50 per person for a person to go, and there has to be 6 of us down there to represent Searcy County.
And when does this occur?
January. And then we have to buy the rooms, once we get down.
And so that 1,700 is included with the rooms and everything in there?
Yes,
And 6 people go, huh?
yes.
Okay. And fair ribbons and fair money. So $3,500 is fair checks that is paid out to, and I know this is just an average, but this is paid out to the people who bring their
Yes.
entries into the fair. And that's here in this building and the arts and
The livestock.
cows, the chickens and the whole
Everybody that
9
puts an
yards.
entry in will get a fair check.
And this all comes out of all of these monies come out of the $14,000 that the state gives us. The electric, water, and insurance,
All of that can be paid out of the
all of that, okay? So with that still throws at, with your figures here, that the fair is in arrears $12,000
pretty much.
at a year's
We
time.
have to make that in donations and fundraisers.
Okay. And is that common?
Yes.
The $12,000 is the
Well,
cost of the common?
some fairs are less, some fairs are more. It just depends.
What kind of money do we have in donations right now? Can you guess? Can you guess?
Hang on.
If I had known that, well, I'm sorry. I
Well,
would've thought that. I apologize.
It's okay.
Okay, so right now, rent, ice, and pageants, we have made $2,925. The turkey dinner, the first turkey dinner we did was $1,333. The fair book ads were $5,195. The last fish fry we had was $910. The Cattlemen's Association that we did the dinner for was $949. Our ice donations was $33. Our second turkey dinner brought in $762.
I guess really I was meaning more as far as the donations that we're asking from our community.
Money-wise?
Not our fundraisers. I just mean the donations that people are giving to the fair. Do we have an idea does that make $12,000? Does it make $5?
Probably not. We get 100 here, 50 there. I'd have to go back in and look at the financials.
No, I'm just trying to.
I mean, we get donations like $100 here or $50 there. I mean,
Right.
as far as getting any kind
So
of,
you get food too sometimes.
well, I mean, yes, but she's wanting money.
No, I was just curious about, we have this amount of dollars that we need to have for this fair to be actually working. And so, we have asked our community for money and saying how that we have to have money and we have to have money. Well, I don't mind doing the fundraisers, you know, I don't mind the work and stuff. And it costs to have a fundraiser. But, there again, what kind of money is the community donating to this fair? And do we really have to be hitting them as hard as we do?
Simmons donates $25. And that's not including, like, outside of the credit check.
Right.
We use $25 credit. This is
Uh-huh. And then,
Simmons is the only one that we have that has consistently donated $2,500. We
And,
have private individuals that will donate 50 or
Right.
100 from time to time.
okay, and then our grants, where does that
We
fall
don't
into?
have it, we've not gotten any grants per se.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's the fair pageant. That's scholarship,
Right, that's scholarship money.
And so that money is
That money
earmarked
that
for
the
scholarship.
BRCDC gave us was strictly for the pageant,
Okay.
okay?
Still,
And so what,
And at this point in time, we have that that scholarship money, but how do we spend that?
well, we gave 4 scholarships out this year. And
Where, how much?
where they were $400 a piece. Okay, they were $300 a piece.
300
500 went to our pageant queen, 100 went to our junior pageant queen, and then we will do the same thing again. But the money, and then we're going to, the girls that want to go to state will end up getting part of that money from BRCDC because that was the
All right.
stipulation.
So $3,000 probably covers those expenses
Yes.
every year for the scholarship.
Well, no, we don't get that every year.
Okay,
I mean, last year we only got 1,500. This
All
year they
right.
gave us 3,000. Next year we may not get that.
all right. Okay. More?
One of our little girls, we're gonna go into new business, one of our little girls that's in a youth cattle exhibit has had a ATV wreck, and she's in a seat collar. She has worked with her cow for quite some time, and I was contacted about a proxy for her to take her cow around the ring, and then how we could help her with the showmanship. And I talked to Don Rainbolt, who is the cattle superintendent, and if she chooses to put her cow in the ring, we'll find a proxy for her. And then it was also suggested that we have an honorary showmanship award for her because she's not allowed in the ring. She's not gonna be allowed in the ring with cattle. She's doing fine, but still yet, she has a spinal cord injury. Livestock and poultry entries, we had 53 cattle, we had 13 sheep, we had 39 dairy goats, 12 market goats. Poultry was 63, rabbits were 2, swine was 12. We had a total of 197 livestock entries. Last year we had a total of 207, so we're down 10, but we lost 2 or 3 of our kids, our older kids had aged out.
Now, when will they pay their entry fees?
They've already paid them.
Okay. So are those entry fees already into the
Yes.
budget or the?
They're in the money, but that money is earmarked for our judges and our room for our judges. And then whatever's left over from the judges will determine what happens with that, then that all goes to the barn.
Would you say that again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
We have to pay for the livestock judge
Okay,
or judges.
okay,
And then we have to get rooms for them because most of the time they're not from here.
okay,
The rooms were donated by Tyler Magnus. So we're not gonna have to have that expense.
okay,
Okay, so right now, we have, after we've taken everything out, and 240 of it was for the native bread. And the native bread, that money goes to the barn, and that's how those folks wanted that set up.
yes. I
Okay,
recall.
$600 goes to the judge, there was $200 for room, but that's been donated. So at the end of the 16-14, we should have about $574 that came in livestock fees that can be used for whatever it needs to be used for at the barn.
Okay,
Want to talk about awards? The award money?
sure.
Award money came in at $600.
Where does the award money come from?
The award money comes from individuals,
Okay,
okay? So that award money is earmarked to go to the kids.
there you go.
Well, I went down to Tractor Supply and I talked to them and I got all the awards donated by Tractor Supply plus a pallet of shavings. So,
Okay, help me out here. You got all of the awards. You
Yes.
mean their gifts or
Yes. the prizes.
their prizes, okay?
So now then we had the quandary on, and then because of the chicken, I ended up making chicken waters, and when you see them, you'll understand, but I made them for them. And so that was $8.27 in supplies. So the current balance on that is $575.19. The livestock superintendents got together, and what they want to do is get gift certificates for all the kids for their herdsman and showmanship.
Okay.
And I think they're going to go up to, the last I heard, they were going to go to Marshall Milling and get those.
That would be good, and be keeping that within the county, as it would, we would like that.
Moving on. The Kellys resigned, and Allison Baker has agreed to stay with us until after the fair to help with whatever we need help with. And that includes writing checks. And after the fair treasurer position, it should be filled by a bonded person, since we are getting funding from the state, and we're
It
also.
doesn't have to be filled by a bonded
No,
person.
it doesn't have to be.
It's not the law. It would be nice, but
It
it
would
is
be
not
nice.
the law.
Can we have some clarification on what a bonded person is, please? Sorry, I don't understand that.
A bonded person, probably Allison could explain it to me better than I can. But basically, they fill out paperwork, they have background checks done, and what it says is if they should happen to embezzle the money, that the fair has insurance so that they can get the money back.
So bonded just means you have a background check run over you? Basically, like if you go with this on, you already have a background check, you have to get fingerprints done, you have to get all your drug tests done, and things like that. So essentially, there's something along those lines. So like, I would be lying to you if I said what any type of employment other than a bank has to do. That's the only thing I know. I'm so sorry.
Okay, sorry, just wanted to clarify, thank you. Thank you, ladies.
And then the rumor started that the fair was given the money by the Quorum Court, that $50,000, and that we could use that for anything, and that's false. The Quorum Court gave us money in 2023, and it was earmarked for repairs. That was sent out into an email. I could probably pull that up if somebody wants to see it. It was for repairs. It was not free money. It had to be earmarked for repairs. So when I got done with everything that we were doing here, I sent a spreadsheet to the county judge in order for him to know what we had done. The proposal that was drafted and I went to the Quorum Court with for the hospitality tax, that also included the rodeo and the rural fire department. Now, we don't have a clue whether or not this is even going to come to fruition. It's out there. A committee was formed, and the reason that the Quorum Court, instead of going to the city doesn't have a city attorney. The Quorum Court does, and an attorney is going to have to read this, and the attorney is going to have to determine whether or not it's even feasible. So we don't know at this point. However, if the fair is not eligible, but the rural fire departments are, or the police departments are, and this hospitality tax, it also impacts the tourists that come into Searcy County. So 2% of everything that is paid for that is a prepared food or a bed and breakfast or whatever, it'll be a 2% of whatever is on that bill of the grocery receipts. And as far as the livestock committee was given a pamphlet, and in that pamphlet there were all the things that had been discussed in the meetings. And when I handed it to them, I said, please go through this, please look at this, please see if there's anything that you wanted to change or whatever. And I didn't hear from anybody. So I contacted one of the livestock committee people and said, I need to make the book. What should I do? And I was told to go ahead and print the book. And I did. And apparently that was the wrong thing to do.
Okay, so the livestock committee's pamphlet, who, is this just an ongoing pamphlet, or do
Well,
they
no, what I
make it
did
up?
was-
Do you make it up? How does this come about?
What I did was, I took the book,
The book.
and instead of having all the ads in the book, like is in the book, I just pulled all the rules out and created another booklet.
Okay,
That's it.
okay. So this was rules from From the fair, from the
From,
Arkansas State Fair, or
Oh, those are rules from our fair book.
from our fair?
Can I ask something? What said the livestock committee, was that when we was part of it? We okayed it?
I handed you the pamphlet and said, take this home and read it, and I never heard from you guys again. And then when I talked with the other livestock committee member, I was told, well, if they haven't contacted you, then I guess it's okay.
I'm pretty sure we said we did not want all them extra rules put in there.
Okay.
I mean, did we okay a bunch of extra? You know,
You never got back to. You never got back to,
we discussed the rules, and we was fine with the rules that we had discussed, and when we come back, you had added, and it's not our own rules.
the care and
It was added
custody.
from the state
The care
fair.
and custody, because you guys had talked about the animals not getting fed and the animals being left in their
Some of them,
wastewater.
yes, we did add some of it, right?
Yeah, right,
Yes,
okay.
but we did not add all the others. About the 6 meetings, we did not add.
That's the extension rules. That's not our rules. In order to be a bona fide member of the 4-H, it was that you had to have 6. And so, I was just reiterating that was part of it.
And as a fair, we said that for us, any kids can show. We
Right,
shared it on Facebook. We
Right.
said we was not going to turn any kids away.
that's right.
Okay.
Can I ask, where is the 6 meeting requirement? Because I looked online for the UAEX, and it said in order to have a club, they have to have 6 meetings.
Members, and then,
Well, 6 meetings, but I never could find where an individual in that club had to attend 6 meetings.
It's the national standard with 4-H, that a member in good standing will have attended 6 meetings.
Okay.
And we use that language, I say we, it's not my fair book, but the language is in your fair book.
and has been for,
And has been for years. I probably have 5 or 6 years in my office, and the language is in every one of them. It's not new this year.
I couldn't find it, so I was just trying to
Yes,
figure out where that.
That is a
came from.
national standard.
Okay.
But it's also up to your agent, it's really what the state stated to us. It's up to the agent to decide how many meetings.
Do you want me to address that?
If you would like, I mean, that's fine, but that's just what we got told.
Can I?
Sure.
Okay. I think there's been a lot of rumor, misinformation that's been thrown around. Pam and I talked, I guess it was probably after last year's fair, because last year we didn't really do anything. But the language exists in your fair book of a member in good standing. What we have seen year after year is that we have an influx of youth who sign up under 4-H before the fair, by registration for the fair, but they never participate in anything 4-H. Now, on one hand, if that's what you want as a fair board, that's what the language needs to say. I am your county agent. We felt together that this was a good thing, and it wasn't about making it harder for young people. It was about creating opportunities for young people. This year, I believe the count is close to 20 different things that we have offered. Now, our attendance has been horrendous. Maybe we're not advertising it well, or maybe, I don't know what the reason is. But the reality is, we've had very poor attendance of things, and we're trying to bring good things. What 4-H is about, it's about building character. It's about taking responsibility. It's about learning work ethic. And what I get, and I have people say it to me in the community, we don't think there should be any requirements. If that's the way you feel, that's how your wording needs to be in your book. Premium board, fair board, that's how it needs to be. Me as extension, we will continue to bring programs. If you don't want 4-H tied to your fair, that's fine. We can live with that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I've had a 4-H group for years. I've asked you, and when Camille was here, I said, Camille said we're gonna push this. She said, no, not yet. Why did we, me, you, and Pam, not have a meeting to discuss this? Because I think it's a good idea, but you can't give the kids 6 months to be prepared. Life has they have lives. Like, you should have started it at the beginning of the fair, and said we're pushing you from there.
But the reality is we have accepted every meeting that a child attended between last year's fair and this year's fair. We have made as many concessions as we could on this thing. We ran
I pushed my butt to help you.
I am aware of that. We ran a makeup meeting, which honestly, when I look at what we're about, creating opportunities, we created something that really wasn't the educational opportunity that we wanted to create, but we were trying to make concessions as we roll this thing out. I'm not against you. I'm not against your youth. My heart is to bring good things to your county. And that's what I've endeavored to do. I've been frustrated by the pushback I've received on it. I don't understand it because I would think as parents and community people, you want what's best for your kids. I'm not trying to work against you. Yes.
Can I say something, Clyde? I work in the school district, and I would love to see opportunities in the school for this, but a lot of opportunity is when we go home at night, after we've been to our other activities, and my kids leave their calf, or clean their calf stall, or whatever it takes for the meal. That should be an opportunity, and that's an educational thing that they're learning how to take care of them. So Garrett is our advisor, and she's put lots of meetings out there. I haven't been able to attend them because my kids have practice and different things. But they do their work at home with their animal for this fair. And I don't think any kid should be denied that, but some people do not have transportation to get to a 4-H meeting, so we need it in the schools for them to have the opportunity.
We are working toward that. We hope to roll some of that out this year where we have clubs back in the schools.
Because that's where we get our kids is at school, and then if they can't be at school or whatever, I'm not saying I appreciate all the meetings I do, but they also work at home, taking care of their animal and doing things like that.
Well, and they're active in athletics, and there's a lot of social things you have to take into account, as well as family things. You know, some people have split homes, there's custody, which is one of our biggest issues during the summer, trying to fit all these activities in. But my kids are feeding and water. They do the chores. We do the chores when they're not there, but that is their responsibility. They are having these activities. They were out there tattooing their goat's ears. They shaved. They helped trim hooves. Those are things that they're learning. They're learning how to manage their animals. But yet, they're having to decide between their sports activity or going to a meeting. And I don't mean this because, Clyde, I like you, and you've really helped a lot of things. But they're having to decide between this and going to a meeting about a greenhouse, which they didn't care, but they had to get that meeting. You know what I mean? And I think that's great. And I think it was geared more to the adults, but when you're trying to get kids to get these meetings, they don't care about that. You know what I mean? And so we tried to get to some of Garrett's meetings, but it just isn't in the cards. I work in Clinton. I get off at 4 to get here, try to get supper, make sure the kids get home because they're getting out of school after 4 for my ones that have at Ozark Mountain, to get to a meeting at 5. It's just not feasible. So, you know, what I'm saying, them taking care of their animals at home, that's quite a bit. That's a lot on them kids, plus their schoolwork and their activities.
Clyde, I got a question for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
How many counties in the state of Arkansas follow national 4-H?
I have no idea. I have no idea, honestly. I know
Searcy,
that,
probably Searcy County is the only one.
no, that's not true.
Not true.
Newton County requires 6 meetings, and they have for years.
Well, how can we find out the benefits of these people here, how many counties in the state of Arkansas fall in the name before they can tell me?
That's what you just asked me, wasn't it?
That's what I asked you. I said, how can we find out? If you
How
can
can
get
we
it
find
to
out?
people here-
I don't know how I would find that out. I would have to reach out to every agent that,
Well, that's a good job.
I have something to say. I talked to an agent from Kirk County at one time, and they said the way to do this is to start them out with 2 meetings a year, then add up to the 6 meetings. You slowly, gradually put them in. If that's helpful.
How many
Okay.
kids are
All right.
actually gonna move on to district and state and national fairs?
how many go on?
Yeah, in this county.
Well, I'll tell you, in my first 2 years, we had 0 that went on. This year, and I'm proud as heck of them, we had 3 that went to, we had 11 that came to our county, Arama. We had 3 that went to district, and then we had 3 that went to state, and they placed, they did well, and I'm proud as heck of them. It's a step forward. Now, COVID set us back, and that was before I was here, but there's a lot of things that fell by the wayside, so there's been a lot of things that we've been trying to pick up and get moving again.
So that's not the question I'm asking.
I didn't understand the question.
How many kids in this county that show animals that go on and show at district and state and go on to national? How many?
A few, I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that I think that those few and their parents are good parents because they are motivating them and supporting them to go on. They make sure that they've got those 6 meetings. But for my kids, they weren't interested in going on that. You know, they just wanted to show in the county fair. So why is it that they have to make 6 meetings?
You
But
know,
now my kids made 6 meetings because Don and I both were parent volunteers. Gail Feast was their leader, and she couldn't make all the meetings. She set up the program that we were going to do, and the parent volunteers went and made sure it got done.
Thank you, Clyde.
all right.
Can I add something? I'm real sorry. I don't want to keep y'all, but just on this topic. I think about a few individuals that being asked real quick over here, y'all. I was your county extension agent a few years ago. And I don't know if y'all remember me sitting in this room right here telling y'all, hey guys, National 4-H wants y'all to make 6 meetings a year. How can we make that happen? And there was a whole bunch of y'all. I thought you a whole bunch. That y'all went to the office to do these little programs all the time. But what is being asked is nothing new. And being on the extension 4-H side, that's what they're pushing. Like as their employee, they're the employer, 4-H extension, they're gonna push that. You know, that has to be his goal. That was my goal when I was with Extension, was trying to create the opportunities that were expected of me as an agent. But like he has stated, his rules don't have to apply to everyone, and I think everyone does have a really good mindset if we want what's best for our kids, right? At the end of the day. So I think we're all from our different areas. Well, this is what's important to me. This is what's important to me. If we can all focus on what's important that we can cope with, but this is not a new rule. That's basically what I want to say. This isn't something that has come out of the blue. This is not something that just is being made up for our county. These have been rules for a very long time. They were rules when I was this tall. They were rules when I was this tall and working there. Those aren't new things. The restrictions are requirements. They're not new. So that being put back out there, it's not new, but that doesn't mean that we have to. Again, we didn't follow the rules when I was a kid. We didn't follow those rules when I was an extension agent. But again, keeping in mind that no one here is out for the kids. I think no one is trying to keep kids from showing in the long run. we're all just trying to give them the best opportunities they can to learn the most that they can.
But you said a key thing.
Okay, thank you.
You came here to a fair board meeting and ask how you do that. You didn't just implement the rules saying this has to be done.
Well, I wasn't gonna, the rules haven't changed the whole time I was in the city. I showed up and told y'all what was expected of me and what I was gonna offer. And that was kind of the end of it. I guess me and Don could have fought a little bit more.
What say about me?
Well,
Yeah,
as a
you're right.
parent, as a new parent, coming into a fair and wanting my kids to get involved, I was unaware of those rules, and we didn't have time to get this fixed. But my kids are so excited to show. So I thought there was a lack of clarity and communication and virtually just being oblivious to the situation and not knowing of it. But that was too much for us to take on at such a short period of time. My daughter won't make the 6 days actually.
Why can't she show and open?
Well, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, she can
But
show,
in
she
the
can show and
rules as
open.
it was shown, that's where the lack of clarity that I'm
Yeah. There's not a reason she couldn't show and open. What was she
But
gonna
that's
show?
what parents,
Yeah.
not only me, are thinking, oh, well, my kid can't show because they didn't get to go to the state meeting.
This is
So,
one of the first questions I threw up the meetings got put in place. I asked, I said, what if we got new people coming that do not know about this and they get ambushed right before the deadline, they do everything else correct. They cannot show in the open show or the junior
Junior
show.
livestock, yeah. We rolled that around for a while. We never really made a determination on that, if I remember right. Do you remember
No,
differently?
we did make a
Okay, what did we
determination at the
decide?
fair. We voted on it.
Know that right, that they could show. Okay, the front gate has been damaged. It looks like that somebody has backed into it with a ball on the back of a truck. But then again, I found the pieces of the links of the chain where it had been cut, and then part of the chain had been thrown over to the side. So replaced it with a heavier chain, and maybe they won't bother it this time. I don't know why. The numbers are on the gates. All you gotta do is call either Chad or myself, and we can get you into the fairgrounds. The law, moving into what happened in 2023, the Arkansas legislation amended the equine rules and regulations for the shows and actually added livestock shows to that, livestock shows and auctions. And that link is here on the statute, for the statute is here in the minutes. And then there was a specific banners or signs that we needed to have up that had to have 1-inch lettering and they had to be posted visibly. Those banners have been bought. Most of those are up. I've got a couple back there on that table if anybody wants to look at them. The city of Marshall drew up documents that the entity signed. We signed it. I think the premium board signed it and the rodeo arena signed it, and that's removing the city from all liability. It's recommended that we have liability insurance, and those documents were attached from the city hall. Our number 10 is sex offenders at the fair and the pageant. The bottom line, there was an incident. The bottom line is a level 1 or a level 2 registered sex offender can go wherever they want to as long as they are not frequenting places where children are. And I got my law enforcement sitting back there so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. That means that they can't go to a park every day and watch children. They can go to a park. They can go to a park and watch their own children. They can stop at the park for 5 minutes, but they can't go and they can't watch their children. Watch children. They can't come up here to the fair and stand at the rodeo. At the show arena and watch our kids show day after day after day. If you know that they are a registered sex offender, you cannot approach them. You cannot say anything to them. You cannot touch them. You can stand beside them and you can make them uncomfortable, but don't say anything to them because that will be harassment on your part. I recommend that everybody go to the sex offender webpage and see who these people are. Some of them are level 3s, level 4s. Those are considered the real bad guys.
Then they can't be around.
No, they can't be
That-
around.
That's a whole
But the
different level.
But the level 1s and level 2s, and if a level 1 or level 2 has a child that is showing in the arena or has an exhibit in this hall, they are allowed to be with their children most of the time. And it all depends on what their probation says. So, then there was a group of ladies that rented the Fine Arts Building and took it up on themselves to set up the bounce house for their kids to play in. I was out of town, Robert came down and saw it, he ended up putting the bounce house up, and then the bounce house was sold, because that's just too much liability for us.
And with our current insurance, bounce houses aren't
We would have
on
to
there at
have,
all anymore.
right, we'd have to have another rider to cover the
excluded.
bounce house. But the bounce house paid for itself, so we didn't lose any money there. The IRS documents have been submitted to Andrew Griffith to look over prior to sending to the IRS. I filed the extension because Andrew asked me to file the extension so we could gather up all the information to get it on the 990 forms for the IRS. Most of the CPAs charge about $1,900 to do that kind of work. So I went through and I sent him a spreadsheet. I sent him all of the financial reports that I get from Allison, and he's gonna look that over and then tell me what the next step we need to do.
So you mean that the April 15th documents, that's what you?
No, it wasn't April 15th, it was March, I want to say March 23rd, but I don't think that's right, Legion. But
Okay,
anyway,
and the extension is for how long?
till December,
Okay.
okay? So we're good there. Toward immunity for the fair in general. I've contacted the Arkansas Fair Manager Association and I've asked the question. I contacted the AG's office to find out whether or not that fairs were covered under tort immunity, and I cannot get an answer. I'm going to continue to pursue this because I'm hoping that somewhere down the road that they'll do something for the tort immunity.
Would you please tell me what tort immunity is? I do not know.
A municipality will have tort immunity. That means you can't sue them. In the state of Arkansas, back some time ago, years ago, they made it so that the state would never be named a defendant in a lawsuit. And that doesn't mean they can't be sued civilly, but underneath the regular lawsuit.
I understand at this day and age that we live in a I'm going to sue you society. It's very unfortunate that we do. But can we afford or not afford to make sure that we have this type of coverage?
No, we need to make sure we have this type of coverage. But
And
now, if we had tort immunity, we would not have to have this type of coverage. That's the reason it's important that I get a clarification on that. That's why I worked hard to get that clarification.
all right.
Our volunteers that have come up, and Don Rainbolt's going to commit it to the cattle, Aaron Drew is going to do the swine, Tiffany Horton's for the dairy goats. Linda Smith has agreed to help her with the goats, Tiffany for poultry, Chelsea Gardner's offered to help her with the poultry. Victoria Proud has agreed to come in and help during the fair. She's taken off that whole entire week. Corey Treadwell and Alan Glidewell have agreed to help. Alan's already fixed the wash station up there. Jeff Mays has agreed to come in and flip burgers during the fair. More volunteers, the better. Grant Horton has agreed to be the MC because Skip will be on vacation. And this year, I'm trying to compile a list of everything that we need to do for talking points, as in the volunteers, who has donated to the fair, who our award donations are, so all of that can be announced during the livestock show. Tyler and Quincy, I'm hoping I'm saying her name right, has donated the 2 nights. Seth and Casey Griffin has donated 40 pounds of hamburger meat. Russell Horton Parks donated the bags of mulch. Tony and Craig Davis has donated the fans for the show arena, and there may be some hurricane fans coming for the poultry. I have personally donated all the banners and the signs, the crowns next year for the pageant. the dessert containers for desserts at the fair, T-shirts and transfers. Simmons had donated, caps for the boys for the tractor driving contest. And, Simmons is donating the lunches for the judges and also donating the, dinner. They're gonna come back and cook hamburgers whenever we have the kids coming in unloading their animals. Because it's gonna be at 5 o'clock and I don't know how long it will take to do that, but they said that they would come and do hamburgers and hot dogs for the kids that afternoon. Our awards donation, and 100% of this goes to the kids. Tony and Craig Davis donated, their tractor for the tractor driving contest. That's still correct.
If I can get the FFA guys to
Call you back?
and come look at it, yes.
Okay. CD Farms and Ranch, the Beef Cattle Awards, Hendricks Farms, Beef Cattle Awards, Field Hollow Farm, the Poultry Award, North of the River Creations, General Livestock, KO Excavation, General Livestock, Kelly's Cleaning Service and Kevin's Guest House, General Livestock, Petty G, General Livestock, The Main Envy, General Livestock, Emily Photography, General Livestock. I cannot say this word. It's Linda Smith and her Mini La Mancha's Dairy Goat Awards. The Highlight Spot, Salon and Spa did Dairy Goat Awards, and then Tractor Supply did the buckets, the brushes, the shampoo, and the shavings. And then we already went over the livestock fees that were generated and the rooms that were donated. Our fair dates are September the 2nd through September the 7th in 2024. And that's all that I have on the agenda.
Hey, ma'am,
Yes,
so I checked on the Searcy County.
yes,
So legally they can be here,
right.
but also legally if the board says they don't want them to be here, then you can vote on it as a board.
Okay,
Basically, just say if you vote yes or no. That way, if they do show up, the board that vote, no, we don't want them here, we can go.
we can have them escorted out. Okay,
As long as that has been brought before and voted by the members.
do we want to put that to,
I want to table that, I'd like to think about it a minute.
okay.
If they have kids in the fair.
Yeah.
If they have a child in the fair,
Yeah, we can't do it. So.
Then why would you do that?
right,
And if you voted no, I mean, just see, if you voted no, I mean, all parents are gonna be watching their kids when they're in the rodeo or whatever. If something seems off, always call the sheriff's office or find one of us there and just say this out. We're not gonna know who it is.
Do we
can
have any-
always find a reason.
do we have any females in the county right now, sex offenders?
Yes.
And that's the other thing that we need to take into consideration, they're not all males,
That's right.
they're not all males. Anything else?
I would like to say that, as a member of the executive board, I've seen a lot of questions about the executive board and who are the members. As a new member of the executive board, I would like for the Searcy County Fair to be very transparent in everything that we do. With our finances, I would like for us to be inclusive with anyone that would like to be interested or would like to come and help, come and volunteer, do anything with us at the fair. That we need to be transparent, we need to practice inclusivity, and we need to practice good communication. And it is hard, a lot of times, for people to have, quote, meetings. Allison, like you said, there she was, she's got little kids. But you know what, we have emails. And we can use these emails and we can put group emails on there. Communication should be open, and then there would not be confusion, in my opinion. Going forward, I would like that to happen. And also, we have an executive director that really does work extremely hard. She's a hard worker. But not everything has come before the board to be brought before the board because the executive director answers to the executive board. Going forward, communication is necessary so that we can all know the answers to questions, or at least have an idea of that. And possibly, hopefully, there will be less confusion and more happy people. That's all I have to say. Next.
Motion to adjourn. Hold on. Okay, I got a motion for Beth to adjourn.
Can I ask a question?
No. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On the junior show on livestock, only the 4-H and FFA going through those programs, they're the only ones that can be in the junior show?
that's what the book has said for a long time, Randy.
Yeah, I know.
Does that need to be updated? Does that need to be updated?
Any kid
Yes,
that's over the age, no matter what,
we've had this discussion.
well, they should be able to show.
Yes, they should be able to show. Let me
Do
explain.
that.
Well, that's what we talked about. I just talked to Don Rainbow, and I talked to Aaron Drury, and I talked to Tiffany during when we was up there checking chickens. And I said, if a kid comes up here and their goat is 1 pound underweight, don't tell that kid he's not eligible.
No.
Don't tell him he's not eligible. If anybody throws a fit, flip him over to open and let him in that ring.
But do they have, they don't have to show an open if they are of age.
Right.
Like, it used to be 9, now it's 5, I understand.
Well-
Posted on the Searcy County Fair Board page, April 15th. Any child between the ages of 5 and 19 that are residents of Searcy County or enrolled in any school in Searcy County or enrolled in homeschool can participate in the Searcy County Junior Livestock Show. Any child or adult any age can participate in the Searcy County Open Livestock Show. All participants of the Searcy County Fair are eligible for ribbons, ribbon money, and fair ticket. Or fair ticket.
So they get the same amount of money as a regular.
Fair checks, yeah.
Yeah. They'll be
Fair
showing-
checks. I
they'll be
mean,
showing
what the
school
premium
exactly
board
what we
does
voted
is-
on.
What premium board does, it's premium board. We don't have, the fair board doesn't have anything to do with premium board.
No,
Regular
no.
fair.
Just the regular fair.
Yeah, they get, everybody gets, if you put an entry in, everybody gets a check.
I don't,
The same amount. Used to it was,
so much corn.
it was, not so much point.
Right, it's still a point system.
But if a child is, if their animal is underweight, they
That's
can
right.
still show in junior.
Well, they've been
They're
told they
just not
could,
eligible,
right, they're just not eligible for the premium.
they're not eligible, they
Right.
can still show junior.
Well,
They
there
should
have
be
been-
in a-
There have been kids that have not been allowed to show. That had to go back to their pen with their animal and were not allowed to show. And I didn't know this until,
I didn't know that either.
I've never.
If their animal's
know.
underweight, they are still eligible, they should still be eligible to show in the
Yes.
junior show.
yes,
So did the judge send them back? Who sent them back?
no, I'm not gonna get into name calling on what happened,
Well, I mean,
but I know that, what, Kim?
I said, I've seen where they've been turned down and they didn't wait the next 5 minutes over that livestock section.
And they weren't allowed to show, were they? Thank you.
But
A livestock person,
are you saying that if they're, like, not 4-H or FFA, do they show in junior or senior livestock or open? Because I thought they
That's
had
what
to
he
open
was saying.
if they
I
weren't
don't think.
in the 4-H and FFA.
Look, Kyle, we haven't had a way, regardless of wherever, it can show somewhere.
Well, they're under, five, but they're under 5, they have to be open. Right. Under 5 or above, they can choose. Is that correct?
Right.
Is that correct?
Okay. Now, I'm trying to, is Searcy County, that's pretty
pretty.
That's pretty, right?
But you're showing open if you're not.
Are you?
Well, you can show,
We can show them. You're not pregnant.
But in the past, we've had a supreme heifer that was exhibitor who was under 9 who won the show. So I know she showed junior.
I think there's a story behind that, Paula, and I don't know enough about that
I'm
situation
still
to talk about.
confused. I mean,
Well,
thought
I
knew
think,
the rules.
I
Maybe
think
don't.
I think that child ended up not getting the prize for it at the end of the day. I think it was taken away from him. Now, I don't quote me on that. I think that's the story I got.
Brent, do you want to speak?
Brett Taylor, do you want to speak?
Do you want to speak?
I have nothing to say.
Okay.
I do have a question. I do. I will
Okay.
have one question, Mr. Fenton, if he'll entertain it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fenton, my youngest daughter, we made the decision, her mother and I, in the 8th grade, and she transitioned from Marshall School to Valley Springs. At that time, she had been participating with Gail Feast in her club that she had. If I remember correctly, Gail is the individual. Well, first off, they had their meetings right after school, and I understood that, no problem. It was my understanding, if I remember right, that Gail made the statement that Emily did not have to be in club. Now, again, the rules may have changed, that she could be independent. She could still be in 4-H, but still be independent. So the reason that I bring that up, I understand what all of these people have said. We all want children to be involved because, you know, I believe you pay on the front end or you pay on the back. And so in this county, just having lived here a long time, basketball, football, baseball, track, all these different activities, and I know that I'm leaving some out. Art club, I'm sure Miss Smith used to have an art club. So it was technically impossible for Emily, since she had ball practice after school. She could have never made one of Gail's meetings. So again, if I'm thinking of kids that live maybe up toward Tilly, in other words, a great distance away, both parents may be working. I could see some dynamics there that would make it very, very difficult. So that was my question. I didn't know if there was such a thing of that type of status anymore or not.
You know, essentially, I guess I would say, yes, there is. Now, in our registration process, you do identify with the club. But my goal has not been to get kids to go to monthly club meetings. It's avail themselves of 6 meetings during the year, and that can be summer camp, it can be a banquet, it can be anything that's 4-H related. It can be the fishing derby. Come and catch catfish with us.
Right.
And so we've made that very, very broad. We're not looking at, okay, you've got to go to a club meeting every month. That's not what we've been about, because we do understand how busy our kids are in all the activities. I've spoken of this. I've spoken of this with Pam. I would love to have clubs that were very specialized for something the kid was passionate about. If he was into robotics, if we have the leaders, we could have robotics clubs. They wouldn't have to be part of a regular monthly club, but they would still be a 4-H'er. They'd be kind of an independent, like you say.
And whenever Garrett had some issues, and so that she had to step away from 4-H for a while. So I went and filled out the paperwork to be a volunteer for 4-H. You've got to go through a lot of paperwork. Tiffany Horton did the same thing. And there are lots of things that are online that can be done that are free to the 4-H kids. There's also something called Clover Academy that we've been trying to find out how we could get that for our kids. So there's lots of options out there, and I'm new to 4-H. I mean, I struggle sometimes, and I mean, Clyde's had to get on to me a couple of times because I've overstepped my bounds. But we're trying to get this 4-H up to where it needs to be. We're working hard. And, right now, it's on the back burner, we just gotta get through the thing. We're 2 weeks away, so we're gonna try to do it.
Is that junior open show requirement, is that in the book? Okay, I just like to see it in writing, so I can try
The
to.
books are back there, I've got a whole bunch of books here, if anybody wants.
It is in the
Troy,
book?
I believe it is, Paula, but down, don't quote me on that.
I'm just not clear on it because I.
Well, I've never been clear on an open show versus a junior show and.
My show open was only for people who didn't live here, and, little kids that were too.
Well, the way I understood open, and I may be wrong, is anybody can be in the open show. An adult can be in the open show, another kid from some other county can be in the open show, anybody can be in the open show.
I have a question. How does the hours upon hours, if they work with their show animal,
There's
how does that count
okay,
towards it?
there's project books, and you don't even
No,
know.
I'm not talking about project book. I'm
Well,
not talking about project book do. I'm talking about them getting out there, washing their calves, feeding them, whatever. That's not a project book. That is them working hours and not getting anything for that, not getting to say, oh, well, they didn't do nothing for it.
Because
Yeah, they did.
parents can document it. So I mean,
That's what
I
I'm
can-
saying,
I can
it
make
doesn't have to be
spreadsheet
like
of
a
all
project book, it could actually be a notebook that they just, like a diary or something that they keep.
That just says, okay.
Yeah, just, I mean,
good thing.
And that counts as me.
Dr. Clyde. All right. All right, Beth made a motion to adjourn, can I get a second?
No,
You didn't make a motion? Oh, okay, all right, well, somebody give me a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you.
Are they not 5 years old?
No. Anybody opposed to adjourning?
So is all the entries have to be online this year?
Yes. If you want to get a fair check at the end when you pick up your stuff, yeah, we have to do them online.
You do realize that you've made it extremely hard for some of the older people. And
Yes, and that's the reason we're gonna be here on Monday from 1 to 6 and on Tuesday 1 to 6 in order to help people put in. Grant helps me, Chris Roof will be here to help. I'm gonna see if Victoria will help, and I'm always here to help. And we work
Yeah, we're
hard.
here all week. We'll be here all week. You betcha.
All right. That's it.
Just break it down and do.
Have you already done?
Yeah.
Well, I still have a question.
Well, they're already okay. I've already done.
Your book says. Says,